Hello there, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. I wanted to make a quick video today about Slide. Now I know that a couple of people have heard of them, they've seen them, they've got questions. There's not a whole lot of information out there really. That, you know, when you're watching somebody play Slide, it's kind of confusing. You don't really know what's happening. So I wanted to do a quick video about how that works and what a slide is. So I've got one here. Now this is a pretty fat one, so it's quite heavy. It's a metal slide, so it'd be aluminium or something like that. But slides come in all sorts of different materials. So you can get ceramic ones, you can get glass ones. There's a couple of different materials there. Obviously, you got steel ones, aluminium ones. This is a Jim Dunlop USA, a 228, whatever that means. But yeah, it's pretty big. And the main differences are there are tonal differences. So the steel slide tends to be a bit brighter. The glass slides are the warmest slides, but obviously they're fragile. I had one when I was a teenager, and then all of a sudden I didn't have one because it fell on the ground when I was playing and it smashed. So ever since then, I've bought metal slides. You can even get brass ones. Brass is quite warm as well. Now, a couple of things when you're playing with slide. So when you're playing regular guitar, obviously you have these frets to guide you, okay? So you're going to play, say you're playing an A, and you're playing between the frets. You got your fingers in between. Now when you've got a slide on your finger, instead of playing between the frets, you've actually got to play over the fret. So it's super important to get that right. So instead of, being in the middle, got to get it right over the fret. So it's really crucial that you get that right, otherwise your notes will not be in tune, and whoever you're in a band with or in the studio with or on stage with will be very cranky with you. So make sure that you play over the fret. Most people don't really want to play out of tune anyway, so not a big problem. But just a couple of things is when you're playing a slide, it's really popular to have an open tuning as well, so that when you're playing, you've got an automatic chord without playing any fingered frets on the hand, on your left hand here or your fingering hand. But I tend to, open tunings confuse me at the best of times. So I've generally always played in a standard tuning, which means there's a couple of tricks when you're playing slide that are helpful. So you'd know this from playing the chords. I just want to show you a couple of common shapes that you can use when you're playing slide. So the A that I played before, you've got 3 notes in a row there, okay? Or you can bar them, or when you've got a slide, you can play them 3 in a row like that. So even though a slide limits your options of what you can fret and play, you can still play multiple strings at once and multiple notes at once. So it's a cool sound, right? Now, some of my favorite slide players, you have to listen to Don Felder from the Eagles, magnificent slide guitar player. Joe Walsh, also from the Eagles, magnificent slide guitar player. He plays in both open tunings and standard tuning, so it's interesting watching him play and the different approaches he has depending on the song, depending on the tuning, guitar, all of those things. Another one of my favorites is a guitarist from Australia, which is where I'm from, a guy called Brett Garsed, and he played with John Farnham for many years, and he is an incredible legato player. So you think sort of that Alan Holdsworth school of guitar playing, and his slide guitar is just magnificent. So you can't fault him. Another really, I don't know all of his music, unfortunately, I should, is Derek Trucks. He plays in an open tuning, pretty well always open E. And there's a couple, I mean, Joey Landreth, Ariel Posen, they're both great slide guitar players as well. Lots of them. But the thing is, it takes time to get right, and don't be discouraged if it doesn't sound great straight away. Take time, because there's examples of people who do it really well, and obviously it's worth listening to. So one of the other things I guess I wanted to talk about is you can actually use harmonics and a slide in the same sort of phrasing. So it's a bit of a gimmick, and it's a bit hard to hear on an acoustic, so I'll do my best. But what you do is you hit a harmonic first, and then you slide very gently, and you can hear the harmonic go up in pitch or down, depending on where you go. So for the purpose of this, I'm going to play on the 7th fret harmonic on the B string, and then slide around, and see if you can hear that upper octave as I slide around. Bit clearer on the top string. It's very hard to hear on an acoustic, but it's interesting nonetheless. Now when you're playing slide guitar, it's really important to get your right hand correct. So what that means is a lot of guys are playing with a pick, but they're also playing with their fingers as well, because you want to be muting certain strings so that you don't get this whole effect of, like a piano, just like thumping the keys. You want to hear specific notes. So I find myself playing with pick a lot of the time, but most of the time I'm playing just with fingers, so no pick involved, and then actually muting strings that I'm not using. So when you're playing a melody, it's clear, because you want that to stick out. You don't want any noise coming up as you're playing. So example of that would be, so I'm muting from the G down. So when you're getting this, so you can sort of see as you're muting and playing, you're figuring out what strings to hit when, which ones to stop when. It's just a matter of trial and error. So I would really suggest having a go at that, making sure you get it sounding the way you want it to. It's good fun. I think that's really the main things I wanted to hit talking about the slide today. Really good fun instrument, and it's actually really crucial to helping you craft guitar solos or melodies that are memorable. Because you're limited, it's almost like putting the brakes on and not letting your fingers, hurry away with you and try and be impressive or fast. You're trying to find something that's memorable, and that's where a slide is super helpful. So I've found them very useful in the studio when you're trying to be reserved. You're not wanting to add too much to a track, because you want to add things gently. You don't want to just be like hammer fisting some part into a song that doesn't fit. You want to be thoughtful, and slide is really helpful for that. So if you've got any questions, let me know. I hope this has been helpful, and I will catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Cheers.